We're with Dr. Mark Anthony King, Chairman of MAC LLC Governance Advisory. So, welcome to Sigma Asia.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. King. Is that okay to say Dr. King?
Of
Yes.
course.
So, our first question is about guiding principles. What core principles guide your approach to advising governments and institutions?
That's a really good question because I believe in intergenerational cross-border collaboration. So in my work, I have to be mindful and really sensitive to different cultures, different races, religions, backgrounds, geopolitical issues that the countries are facing. But for me, everything goes back to three core principles: honor, ethics, and integrity. But we have to be mindful of how we define those words. But at the end of the day, I take things usually to the James 2A principle, where we know that as a golden rule: do unto others. And I spoke about this yesterday, where if there is a policy, if there's a law that is going to result in profitability, but at the cost of human rights violations, at the cost of whatever referred to as suppression, oppression, or repression of people, then we have to address that, because any policy that makes people's life worse for the sake of short-term gain, I think allows corruption to run rampant. And at the end of the day, as people, we're supposed to leave a better planet for our children, but we're also supposed to leave a better, group of children for our planet. So we have to be mindful of those things.
So, this brings me to the next question, which is effective leadership. What qualities do you believe define effective leadership in today's complex global environment?
For somebody with a philosophy degree, I can talk about this all day. And I've had the privilege of consulting multiple countries, multiple world leaders. I've walked into war zones to help rewrite constitutions. Most recently did that with Ukraine last year. And I've seen a lot, and I've experienced a lot of international crisis, financially, from a humanitarian perspective, human rights perspective. And I firmly believe, in the core of my heart, that we need individuals who are going to be self-sacrificing. So we look at what ultimate leadership is at the end of the day. And I don't push faith onto anybody, but my faith and the governing principles in the Holy Bible are what have allowed me to enter rooms and create impact that I thought I would never create my entire life. So to me, I look at what is the ultimate archetype of what I call masculine leadership. To me, that's Jesus Christ. And we look at what he did. So take theology and religion off the table. What did he do? He gave his life for what he believed was right. He looked at the women. He looked at the children. He mentored them, ministered to them, healed them. He spent his time educating them, providing them with opportunities to receive revelation, right? It wasn't a question of what can I get? It was a question of how much of myself am I willing to give in order to walk on this path. And leadership at the end of the day isn't somebody who delegates and somebody who receives glory. As a leader, you receive none of the praise and all of the blame. If things go right, it was a group collective. We did it. If things go wrong, you messed up. So it's a question of, are you willing to take arrows on behalf of people who ultimately wouldn't take them for you? But it's not about what you want to do. It's about what was put into you. It's about the work that you're supposed to do. Are you willing to take those arrows to serve and to benefit the oppressed and the suppressed and the repressed people? So to me, it's self-sacrifice, somebody who is willing to step in front of danger, somebody who's willing to be the bad guy. If it means a diverse group of people are willing to be liberated. And that can be economically, that can be liberated in terms of, there's a war going on, are they willing to stand in the gap? Somebody who's willing to stand in the gap for those that need it, whether they be recognized for it or not.
Lots of accountability in this kind of answer that you gave me.
Radical accountability.
Our next question is about urgent issues. What governance or humanitarian issues do you see as most urgent in the next decade?
A mentor of mine told me a couple of years ago, he's one of the kings of Ghana, and he's a world civility pioneer, told me the importance of civil dialogue. And we're not always going to agree on things. I've been in very heated arguments and discussions with very powerful men. And at the end of the day, sometimes we need to understand victory isn't always getting what we want. Sometimes victory is we leave that moment in the midst of a disagreement, but we don't attack each other. Peace in the public square is the ultimate goal. Not conformity, not everybody being the same, but can we coexist in harmony in the public square? Can we voice our grievances, our concerns, the issues that we face, and not have more issues that result in bloodshed? In my work, I've had the honor and privilege of meeting with multiple members of Congress. I've had about 62 meetings thus far in Washington, D.C., and amongst the work that my team and I have done is in the area of child and human trafficking, specifically combating it. And we understand that there are states who have loopholes in their constitutions that allow child marriage to take place. So by the grace of God, we've been able to end child marriage laws, abolish them completely in 16 out of 50 U.S. states so far, which results in, I believe, 20 to 25 million kids who cannot legally be trafficked. So that is a critical issue that is facing humanity as a collective. It's happening everywhere. You can't escape it. And I believe that, again, it all goes back to honor, ethics, and integrity. And we need men and women of honor, ethics, and integrity who are going to be in positions of leadership, of power, of authority, who have what I call discernment and wisdom. Those are two very different things, so that they can understand what laws exist today that are deleterious and detrimental to the health, wealth, wellness, and well-being of vulnerable groups.
Well said.
Thank you.
Earlier, you mentioned about impact. Now, for our last question is about impactful initiatives now.
Yes.
How can leaders ensure their initiatives remain impactful beyond their tenure?
So I'll take something back to what my wife and I are building, just in the space of women empowerment, since that's a very popular and relevant topic today. We have an organization called GWISE. It stands for Global Women of Impact Stewardship and Enterprise. And the goal here wasn't merely to empower women. I mean, women empowerment platforms are a dime a dozen. And I think you need to be mindful of why you're doing what you're doing. Are you doing it for the fame and the fortune and the ability to go viral? Or are you listening to a greater calling that was put into you by a higher power? Because those two aspects are going to take you in two very different directions. So you need to lock into what people are suffering with. You need to understand that at the end of the day, when we face our maker, he's not going to care about how many followers we had on Facebook. He's not going to care about how much money we had in our bank account, although money is great and I'm grateful to have it and it allows us to fund our initiatives. But that's not the end goal. The end goal should be impact. And I think the more you fall in love with the people and the more you suffer what they're suffering, I ask God all the time, break my heart, shatter my spirit for what breaks your heart and what shatters your spirit, because that is going to bring revelation. It's going to allow you to really empathize. And I think we live in a day and age where we need radical empathy. Otherwise, we'd treat each other very differently. So I think pray, seek revelation, have radical empathy, and you need to connect on the grassroots level with the people, because those are going to be your greatest supporters. People don't care about what you do, they care about how you make them feel. And I believe that if you make people feel fundamentally that you value them, that you cherish them, that you see them, and that you empathize with their struggle, and what hurts them hurts you, and you're committed to helping them, you are going to terraform the culture. And at the end of the day, that's the goal. We want to terraform the culture.
Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for all of these great insights.
My pleasure.
Dr. Mark Anthony King, Chairman, MAC LLC Governance Advisory. Thank you once again.
My pleasure.